Michael Jackson is not dead. Michael Jackson doesn't look anything the way he did. The slim Michael Jackson, because they know that's what y'all like. The Michael Jackson that y'all saw dancing with James Brown, that was a clone. They had to keep fixing on it because the clone was breaking down. He wasn't going into surgeries. See, clones also can't gain weight. So basically what they did, they had to keep doctoring on the clone of Michael who was alive. The one that was dancing with Michael, the dance with James Brown. Okay, that Michael Jackson, that wasn't the real Michael. The when they cloned Michael, that clones don't grow hair. So in other words, however they clone you, whatever you have, that's how you're gonna come out. That's just how the clone produce. So in other words, if you're a person that have long hair, however they clone you, that's how the clone gonna look. When they cloned Michael Jackson, his hair was never attached, because the first Michael Jackson that was cloned, his head was in a third to fourth degree burn in Pepsi commercial. He lost half his head. I mean, it wasn't gone, but it was it was very badly burned. Michael Jackson looked like a monster. Okay, and he was still slim. So they cloned him while he was under the knife. And when they cloned him, they needed 2 years to remake him because he didn't look nothing like Michael Jackson. I don't know if y'all can peep game. So when they cloned him, they had to make him lighter and make up this skin disease because his skin didn't look the same. His body, they changed everything about him. In the end, when Michael was looking really, really bad, the clone body was breaking down because clones don't think like humans. Clones have to have people around them to tell them what they do because they get adolescence. They can't think properly. It's called handlers, right? So when Michael started to break down, his body was breaking down. His nose was artificial. I don't know if y'all noticed. Go back and Google Michael Jackson nose. It looks like a robot because it wasn't him. His whole head was a wig. It was a cap because when they first cloned Michael, he didn't have any hair. It all burnt off in the Pepsi commercial. They put Michael in a capsule and cloned him. Brought him back 2 years as the clone, and Michael Jackson was watching all of this like, I can't believe they're doing this. So what happened to Michael? He just lived his life. Michael Jackson is still alive. He's already appeared on TV, but y'all didn't even know who he was. Go back and watch the CNN of Larry King, the guy with the glasses with the real bad burnt victim that played like Michael Jackson saved him when he was a kid. That's Michael Jackson. It burned him so bad it disfigured him. It tore up his skin. It did everything to him. You understand what I'm telling you? And also, after Michael was cloned, the real Michael Jackson, they bleached his skin so he would look nothing like Michael. If you look at the dude who was on Larry King telling you about his childhood, how Michael Jackson helped him, he looks just like Michael. Just look at his eyes. That's Michael Jackson. He's disfigured. That's how he looked when he got done with the Pepsi commercial.
Joining us now here in Los Angeles, Miko Brando, who was with us almost every night after this untimely passing, longtime Michael Jackson friend attending the funeral. And Dave, yes, that's his name, Dave. He was David Rothenberg. He was set on fire in 1983, suffered, as you can see, terrible scars. Michael Jackson befriended him and paid for a lot of his surgeries. Dave is also attending the burial. Why Dave?
Well, to liberate myself from the confines of my father's criminality.
He caused the fire?
Yeah. He is a criminal, and he caused all this. To free myself of his name and his legacy, I decided to become my own person through changing my name.
How did he find out about you, Dave?
He heard about me, and he had contacted me and wanted to meet me.
How old were you at the time?
I was about 7 years old at the time.
And were you in the hospital?
I was not in the hospital at the time. I was in interim back and forth from surgery.
And what did he do for you?
Well, basically, he befriended me. He took me into his life, which is very rare for Michael to do. But he opened up his arms to me and accepted me as a very good friend of his. And throughout the years, he never let me go.
Were you surprised, Dave, to hear from him when you were 7?
Oh, it's a very interesting story, Larry. It was kind of, the visit to his Encino house was very impromptu, and it was kept a secret by my mother. And I had always been kind of a admirer of his, not a fan per se, but I always loved his music. And my mother surprised me one day and brought me up to Neverland. And I entered an arcade, and there were all these Paul McCartney records all over this, The Girl Is Mine, and, you know, this and that. And I remember sitting down, and at the time, my favorite video games, my favorite video game was Pole Position. And I was playing Pole Position, and I felt a little tap on my shoulder, and I turned around, and there was Michael. And you know what, Larry?
What?
At that moment, we embraced, and that embrace never ended throughout our whole entire friendship.
Dave, what don't we know about him we should know?
Well, I believe what people fail to realize is that Michael was a human being. Throughout the years, I think he was kind of stigmatized by the media, and I believe that wasn't really helpful to him or to anybody around him. I believe that Michael was a great person. He has never hurt a soul, and I am happy to have been his friend for all these years and been a dedicated friend.
One artist who got that opportunity was Akon. A couple of years ago, Michael invited him to a studio in hopes of writing new music. What resulted was one of the most memorable moments of Akon's life.
Like, my favorite moments was the day we actually met, because I didn't expect him to be that cool. You know what I'm saying? I love movies. He was a moviegoer. He loves movies as well. And he was like, yo, man, I gotta take you to this theater, this new technology they got. It's like 4D, like, it feels like, you know, the images are right in front of you, like you're actually in the mix of it. And I was like, nah, I know 3D. He's like, no, listen, you gotta check this out. I said, well, let's go. And he paused for a minute. He's like, okay, let's do it tomorrow. And I'm saying to myself, okay, I don't know how we expect to go to the movies, but you know what I'm saying? Like, this is Michael Jackson. Like, how the hell are we gonna actually go to the movies? So the next day, you know, he calls my room. We was both staying at the Palm in Vegas. He's like, you ready? I'm ready. I was like, yeah, let me get dressed. But at the time, I thought he was just joking. I didn't think he was really, I thought he was gonna probably just rent, you know, we go through the back late night or something. This is broad daylight. So he grabbed the kids. They looking normal. Mike comes out. He has his disguise on, you know. So I starts laughing because I didn't recognize him, you know. It wasn't like he had a fake mustache or he had a wig or nothing. He just had a simple hoodie on. So when you look at it, he could have easily passed to be a Saudi or somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we're going into the mall. We get on the elevator, go down. We're going through the hotel where they have the IMAX thing. And as soon as we walk in, all these kids just start coming running towards us, you know? So I'm like, oh, damn, I think they know who he is. And all the kids just caught running up to me, asking me for an autograph. So I'm like, okay, I should just go ahead and should I just toss him off before they recognize who he is or just play it cool? So he shakes his head and like as if, yeah, go ahead, do what you gotta do. So I see them signing autographs, taking pictures, and I'm looking at these kids' faces and they not even knowing that Mike is standing right next to me. Like, if they only knew this guy was standing right next, you know how much havoc that would have caused up in that place? So we get into the theater and then the manager greets us up front. So he comes and hands us the tickets. We're all seated. So as we, you know, talking, sometimes I forget that he's supposed to be in his disguise, you know. And I keep calling him Mike. Right, and this little girl hears us, she's like, and she looks over, and I think she recognized him, like, I really think she did. So then when I realized she was peeping, then I started calling him Dave. But she wasn't stupid. So she runs up, shoo, full speed, goes all the way to the top of the theater. And I see her whisper. And I look up, and the girl's just pointing. And I know she's not pointing at me. Like, I didn't know this. And I think he kind of felt it, too. So right before the movie was over, we just all got up and started walking out. But by the time we got to the car, everybody in that place knew that possibly that could have been him. It was just the funniest thing, man.
The 3 bodyguards he trusted with his life speaking out for the first time. Ashley Banfield spent 3 days with the men who put their lives on the line for the King of Pop. Now, no matter what you think about Jackson, what you hear from these men may change how you feel.
As for Michael's sometimes bizarre appearance, they say these bandages had nothing to do with secret surgeries.
Was he concealing an injury with those bandages?
No. That disguise to him was the burn victim look. Just
It was
like
a disguise?
It was a disguise to him.
When you saw him coming downstairs, getting ready to get in the car with the bandages, what did you think?
Something's up with him.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, something's up.
Did you ever tell him?
How could you tell him that?
Right.
He's coming down with the kids, so we can't say, like, what the hell you got on, sir?
They didn't come around much. And when they did come, they came unexpected. And we would make Mr. Jackson aware that, you know, one of your family members is outside the gate, would like to see you. And he would sometimes ask, do they have an appointment?
Michael would ask if his family members had appointments?
Yes.
When his father came, he was like, does he have an appointment?
But they say that didn't stop Michael's youngest brother, Randy, from trying.
There was another occasion when Randy came to the house and crashed the security gate with his vehicle. I drew my weapon on him, and first thing out his mouth was, get that gun out of my face or I'm calling the press, which took me back.
Unbelievable.
We made Mr. Jackson aware that your brother Randy is downstairs asking to see you very adamantly. And
What did Michael say?
he was not happy.
Did he see him?
No.
No.
Randy Jackson admits he was there that night, but denies he ever set foot on the property. And as for that much talked about family intervention for Michael's alleged drug abuse, they say they were there for that too.
And he said, I'll only see my brothers.
They never got into the house.
No, he came outside.
He came into the trailer.
Security trailer, right.
He met his brothers in the security trailer.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
How was Michael afterwards?
Fine.
He didn't seem upset?
No, he just left the trailer and went back in the house.
Did he seem like he had a drug problem?
A drug problem? No.
Not a drug problem.
Not a problem.
Not a problem.
Certainly there were times that he gave the appearance that he was probably high on something.
He was intoxicated in some way, but not, I wouldn't say a problem, no.
They say they weren't in LA when Jackson died, but were among thousands of people at the Staples Center for the memorial.
I looked around. I looked at a lot of celebrities, a lot of stars.
Where were they?
And it just made me just wonder, where were they? Or
Where were they?
Were these some of the people that turned their back on him after the second trial?
The guy was so lonely.
You know.
Where were they?
And I just wanted to say I love him so much.
To see Paris on that stage,
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
That hurt me.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah,
It was a quiet ride home.
And Dave, yes, that's his name, Dave. He was David Rothenberg. He was set on fire in 1983, suffered, as you can see, terrible scars.
So as we, talking, sometimes I forget that he's supposed to be in this disguise, And I keep calling him Mike. Right, and this little girl hears it. She's like, and she looks over, and I think she recognized him. Like, I really think she did. So then when I realized she was peeping, then I started calling him Dave.
That disguise to him was the burn victim look. Just
It was
like
a disguise?
It was a disguise to him.
So he grabbed the kids. They looking normal. Mike comes out. He has his disguise on,
How did he find out about you, Dave?
He heard about me and he had contacted me.
Songs come at the strangest times. I could be walking through a park or something and it'll just hit you. Every time I get a platinum album, it's never taken lightly on my behalf. I'm always honored, and it's great thanks,
They looking normal. Mike comes out. He has his disguise on.
That disguise to him was the burn victim.
And Dave, yes, that's his name.
So then when I realized she was peeping, then I started calling him Dave.
When you go about writing, what happens?
Songs come at the strangest times. I could be walking.
How do you find out about you, Dave?
He heard about me and he had contacted me.
And they knew the world wasn't ready to see that Michael Jackson, so they had to keep him alive. Remember what I said prior. They've been cloning since 1945. So Michael comes back 2 years later. He looks nothing like the real Michael Jackson, but people buy into it. He can still dance because the clones is good mimickers. They're good at mimicking, man. That's what they do. So he got all his moves, but he was a little bit stiffer. I don't know if y'all look at the old Michael and then look at the new Michael. He's a little bit stiffer. Okay. Now, when Michael first came back, didn't nobody really know how to take it. All right. Because I can't recall if Billie Jean came out before the Pepsi commercial. But Michael sold his soul way before then, because he did the Wiz commercial when Billie Jean wasn't even thought of. When he did the Wiz play, when he said you can't get in, you can't get out the game, Michael sold his soul a long time ago because Joe Jackson sold his children out long ago, and Joe Jackson forced his kids to have sex with Berry Gordy and Quincy Jones and amongst the other executive producers. Them boys was molested long ago. All right? That's about Michael.